Good morning, everyone. The April 25th, 2024 meeting of the Library's Education and Neighborhoods Committee will come to order. It's 9:31 a.m. I'm Maritza Rivera, Chair of the committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wu,
Present.
Councilmember Hollingsworth, Councilmember Moore,
Present.
Councilmember Morales,
Here.
Chair Rivera.
Present, let's let the record reflect that Councilmember Hollingsworth will join us shortly. Thank you.
4 council members are present.
Thank you. There are 2 items of business on today's agenda. We have 2 presentations, both from the Seattle Public Libraries. If there is no objection, the agenda will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the agenda is adopted. We will now open the public comment period. Public comments should relate to items within the purview of this agenda, which are those 2 items from the Seattle Public Libraries presentations. Clerk, how many speakers are signed up today?
Currently, we have 1 in-person speaker.
Thank you. The public comment period will be moderated in the following manner. The public comment period is up to 20 minutes. Each speaker will have 2 minutes. Speakers will be called in the order in which they registered. We will start with in-person speakers first and alternate between sets of in-person, although we have only 1 today, so we won't have the need to do that. Speakers will hear a chime when 10 seconds are left of your time. The public comment period is now open. We will begin with the speaker on the list.
First speaker is Alex Zimmerman.
Sieg Heil. Dirty damn Nazi fascist junta, bandito in killer. My name is Alex Zimmerman, I'm president.
Please pause the timer. I'm providing you with an opportunity to to engage in disruptive behavior. This is disruptive behavior and it's not in compliance with the council rules. Do you want to continue?
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. I'm doing everything best what as I can. But I cannot change you because you're very primitive, aggressive. It's stupid. You don't know what has been Constitution. Yeah, but library, education in neighborhood is a package. It cannot be separate. You know why? Because when you separate one part from another, education go down, people go down, children go down. We have what we have for last 20 years. You make 750,000 people absolutely idiot. And I give you classic example about education. I come to school, Seattle School Board, dozen times. It's 55,000 children. What is your brainwash? Like in concentration camp.
Sir, please pause the timer. I'm providing you with an opportunity to redirect your comments to an item on today's agenda, which are the library items. We're not discussing Department of Education today or education. We're discussing libraries.
Yes, thank you very much. It's exactly what as I told you, because it's 3 pack go together. It cannot be separated one from another. This is a problem. Library is most for children, you know what this means, because when you go older, you not care about it. Neighborhood, what is you come from children. What is 55,000? You brainwash these children. You come to absolutely idiotic situation. Was this your problem? Because you're primitive, aggressive, and stupid. I told you many times. You cannot separate one from another part. We're all in the same basket with same principle. When one principle broke, everything will be broke. You don't understand this because you're stupid by definition. Exactly what is you interrupt? Because you don't understand how important this package is. Cannot be separation. If you try separate this, so what's happened? We have Seattle right now totally in deep hole. You know what this means for last 20 years. It's because you don't understand this. Why? Because idiot can elect only idiot. It's no another choice. It is exactly what's happened. So I ask you right now, stop be an idiot. Start be a little bit more smarter, little bit. Thank you very much. Welcome.
There are no additional registered speakers, so now we'll proceed to our items of business. Will the clerk please read today's first item into the record?
Agenda item 1, a briefing from Seattle Public Libraries about the Seattle Reads program.
Thank you. This item has been read into the record. For the first item of business, we're joined this morning by Chief Librarian Tom Fay. We also have with us Desha Brandon, who's the Literature and Humanities Program Manager at Seattle Public Libraries. Thank you both for being here and proceeding to the table. Please introduce yourselves for the record, and then we can learn more about the Seattle Reads program, including the book that you have selected for 2024.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair Rivera. I'm happy to introduce my colleague, Desha Brandon. She is our Humanities Programming Manager and is responsible for a lot of the author programming and humanities programming you see at the library. And I'll turn it over to her for her presentation on our exciting Seattle Reads book this year.
Thanks so much, Tom, and hello, everybody. Thanks so much for having us today. As I'm sure many of you know, Seattle is a UNESCO City of Literature and received that designation because of our wonderful literary ecosystem. And the library and Seattle Reads are a big part of that. For those of you that might need a quick reminder, Seattle Reads is a citywide book group that encourages everyone in the city to read and discuss the same book. The program was created in 1998 by the Seattle Public Library and has inspired more than 400 similar programs across the US and globally. The selected book this year is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This is the first time in the 26-year history of the program that we've chosen a work of science fiction, and also the first time that the library has chosen a book by an author after their passing. It's also just the second time that we've selected a book by an author with Seattle area ties. Published in 1993, Parable of the Sower opens in the year 2024 and offers readers a chance to consider the world of the book as it relates to the current day. Butler's future is our present. As Parable opens, global climate change and economic crises have led to social chaos. There are pervasive water shortages, a drug epidemic, and the crumbling of major infrastructure. Our protagonist, Lauren Olamina, is sheltered from much of the surrounding anarchy, but she senses imminent disaster that her small community refuses to face. And when disaster does strike, Lauren and a small group of folks are forced to fight for survival. As they flee up the West Coast, a new vision for humanity and a new faith gradually emerges. Parable is a rich text. Some of the themes include climate change and its long-term impacts, empathy, community building, and trust, and the nature of belief. Now, many of you may know Octavia Butler's name. She's been referred to as the Grande Dame of fiction. She's many novels, including Kindred, Fledgling, Parable of the Sower, and its sequel, Parable of the Talents. Recipient of a MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant and numerous literary awards, Butler has been acclaimed for her lean prose, strong protagonists, and social observations in stories that range from the distant past to the far future. She moved to the Seattle area in 1999 and passed away up in Lake Forest Park back in February 2006. Usually, Seattle Reads brings the selected author to Seattle for several years, or for several days. This year, we have a unique opportunity to create community-led programming. The library is hosting programs in a dispersed model over the course of several months throughout the city with very deep community engagement from many community partner organizations. We've divided our programming into several categories: discuss, learn, discover, and celebrate. At this point, we're hosting more than 20 events from April through July, and some highlights include a panel discussion called Queering the Future, which will explore Butler's influence on queer writers, Earthseed Growing Change, which is a day of intergenerational activities and demos at Midtown Square Plaza that will include a farmer's market with Black farmers, a conversation on healing between embodiment practitioner Prentice Hemphill and local luminary Ijoma Oluo, Wind Down Wednesdays, an online series of events with Black speculative fiction writers and thinkers curated by Sista Sci-Fi, and workshops by Dante Felder, Reagan Jackson, and Jordan Amani Keith at the Genius Conference in early June. While we always strive to involve community in Seattle Reads planning, this year is particularly special. Octavia had deep roots in our community, and folks here really wanted to celebrate that. The majority of the programming is community-led, and all of the programs were informed by ongoing community listening sessions throughout last fall and winter. We're collaborating with a number of partners, including the African American Writers Alliance, Art Noir, Clarion West, Elliott Bay Book Company, Langston Seattle, Loving Room Diaspora Books and Salon, Sista Sci-Fi, Third Place Books, and Wanawari. And you may know that we give, in addition to our cataloged copies that we have through our normal library catalog, we also distribute uncatalogued copies so that folks that may not have access to the library for whatever reason, may not have a library card, still have access to the program and to the book. So in addition to the nearly 1,200 copies of Parable that are in our catalog, we're distributing about 1,500 books throughout the community in both paperback and graphic novel form, with about 30% of those going specifically to prioritized communities. We've also widened our distribution points for these copies to include non-library locations like Art Noir, Langston, and Loving Room. As you can tell, I'm super excited to celebrate Seattle Reads and Parable of the Sower. We've been working on it for months with our wonderful community partners. You should have received a copy of the book and a little discussion guide that includes a lot of information about the program. It includes many of the program events that we're hosting throughout the next few months. And I really hope that you'll all be able to join us for Seattle Reads this year. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much, Stasha. And I really, it is really wonderful to see a local Black author being recognized in this way. Sadly, she's no longer with us, and it would have been amazing to have had her here. But nevertheless, it's really an honor, and so thank you for doing that. I'm really excited to read my copy of the book and be able to discuss it with my colleagues. Colleagues, any comments or questions? Councilmember Wu?
I'm really excited. It's a sci-fi book, and so I have the book, I have a copy, and thank you so much for doing this.
I'll say I read this sort of mid-pandemic, and it was really terrifying. And I will say I almost didn't finish it because I'm not a person who likes sort of gory things, and it was a little violent for my taste at the beginning, but I pushed through, and I'm really glad I did because it was an amazing book. And I think it was also about this time that I had the pleasure of meeting Nancy Pearl at a community event, and she asked me, "What are you reading these days?" And you don't want to be asked by Nancy Pearl, "What are you reading these days?" and not have an answer. So I was really glad to be able to say that I was reading this book, and really appreciate. I've read several of the books in the last few years that have been part of the program, and it's been. I haven't participated in any of the events yet, but maybe I'll join this year and join the conversation that the community's having. So thank you.
Thank you. We'd love to see you there.
And I will say that there's an interesting opportunity with the graphic novel. So if you've already read the book, which I did many years ago, I'm a sci-fi geek. The graphic novel really gives you an opportunity to experience it a whole lot differently. Because in your mind, as you read, you create the world, and now you get to see it through an artist's interpretation. So I'm really thankful that we were able to secure that as well.
Well, thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda. Will the clerk please read the second item into the record?
Agenda item 2, a briefing from Seattle Public Libraries about the 2023 annual library levy report.
Colleagues, this is the Seattle Public Library's presentation about their 2023 annual levy report. Chief Librarian Fay will be presenting. He's also joined by John Osterwitz, who's the library's levy administrator. John, do you want to join us at the table, please? I will say that Chief Librarian Fay will first run through the levy annual report, and then at the conclusion of that, he will address the recent library closures and give more information to you all, colleagues. I would ask that you please hold discussion on the closures until that time and allow Chief Librarian Fay the opportunity to run through the levy report first. All right. Please introduce yourself, John, for the record, and then we can learn more about the library report, the Levy Library Report.
Hi, I'm Jan Osherwitz, Library Levy Administrator.
And I am Tom Fay, Chief Librarian, and I want to thank the council members today for allowing us to present our 2023 Levy Report. And I do want to point out that the work here that you see is obviously throughout the entire library system, but the presentation you see today is a lot of Jan's work with her colleagues and the team that puts this all together. So many thanks. And I'd also be remiss on Volunteer Week if I didn't point out that we have Angel Sauls here in the audience, who is our president of our Friends of the Library. And we appreciate all the work of our volunteers, especially this week as we have so many different efforts, homework help, all the great work that library friends do every day in support of libraries. So I just wanted to mention that before I started. And as stated earlier, the levy ordinance requires that the library prepare this report and have it to the mayor and council by April 15th. Our board of trustees has to actually approve that in early first quarter of the year. And this is now posted on our website at www.spl.org. In this presentation, I'll provide some background about the 2019 levy, discuss investment areas prioritized in the levy, highlight some of our accomplishments in those areas, and share our roadmap to the future. I'll try to make my way through quickly so there's ample time for questions. We're proud stewards of Seattle's 27 libraries, including the Central Library, which is turning 20 years old this year. We have 26 neighborhood branches, a maintenance and operations center in Georgetown where we sort and deploy materials, and a mobile services team that ensures folks who can't access our buildings can still get their items. The library experienced an all-time high of active patrons in 2023. Nearly 300,000 patrons used our services. We maintained a physical and digital collection of 2.8 million items. These items were checked out 13.4 million times. In particular interest in our digital materials, there is extreme interest in our digital materials such as ebooks and e-audiobooks. They continue to increase in usage. We saw a 15% increase for these items last year. Our public computers and our Wi-Fi are some of our most important resources for many in our community. In 2023, we facilitated over 340,000 public computer sessions. We also brought back thousands of in-person programs in 2023, including story times, author talks, classes, and more. With that brief overview of our system, I'll now provide an overview of the library levy and then a deeper dive into our 2023 activities, which accounts for the fourth year of this levy. The library's largest funding source continues to be the city's general fund, which pays for 68% of the costs for hours and access at the library. The levy comprises approximately 30% of our budget and pays for about 29% of our hours and access costs. Voters first approved a library levy in 2012 after the Great Recession. At the time, most of our locations were closed 2 days a week. Our collections had been cut, our infrastructure was aging, and we had to close system-wide each year for week-long furloughs. The 2012 levy also provided $123 million that we used to restore library hours and services. It invested in our buildings and even began some new services like Peak Picks, our very popular no-holds, no-wait collection. In August 2019, voters overwhelmingly approved a $219 million renewal levy to fund expanded services, which I'll go into in the next slides. Before we move on, though, I want to highlight some of the assumptions of our 2019 levy planning, because these are critical to know. We assumed at that time 2019 funding and staff levels in the general fund. We assumed a 4% inflation for levy funds, and other funding sources would keep pace with inflation. Those were the assumptions. From the pandemic, the library's budget and staffing levels, as well as inflation, have all been impacted. In this levy period, inflation has exceeded 4%, eroding the levy's buying power. Cumulative inflation from 2019 is 22.6%. compared to our levy planning assumption of 17%. This means our inflation assumptions cover only 75% of our non-labor cost increases in 2024. And in terms of construction inflation, that has been through the roof. We have seen even further reductions in our purchasing power when it comes to construction. This slide shows how 2019 levy funds were intended to be allocated over the 7 years of the levy. My apologies. There we go. Thank you, Jan. 40% of the funds were allocated to hours and access. This is staffing to keep libraries open and provide access to library programs and services, including outreach and engagement services throughout the city. It funds social services-related staff who provide information and referrals to vulnerable community members. Patrons consistently report their highest priority is additional library hours. The 2012 levy provided, I'm sorry, I think these might have gotten out of, am I in the right order? I apologize all. And then 20% of the funds were dedicated to collections, another critical area and one well used by our patrons. This category includes funding to maintain and expand our physical and digital collections and invests in streaming services. It has also supported fine-free borrowing since 2020. Investing in the collection is also a high priority. 13% of the funds were allocated to technology. This category includes technology services such as public computers and printers, Wi-Fi access, and Wi-Fi hotspot lending program. It also supports our technology infrastructure like our website and our integrated library system, which helps us manage our catalog and patron borrowing. The levy does include a small amount, 1%, to support children's programming. This investment area is focused on children ages 0 through 5. With the levy support, we are providing more play and learn programs for little ones and their caregivers. The last item and the second largest investment area is maintenance. The levy pays for enhanced levels of routine and preventative maintenance. It also funds the library's major maintenance program, including seismic upgrades to 3 historic Carnegie libraries. This slide shows our revised 2023 budget versus our actual 23 spending. In 2023, we spent 93% of our operating budget. Operational savings went into our levy fund balance, which is being used to cover the levy's share of the recent AWI adjustments, 5% for 2023 and 4.5% for 2024. Retroactive payments this year for 2023 adjustments and bargain living wage adjustments. These costs will show up in the 2024 revised budget. We spent 29% of our capital budget. Labor shortages, supply chain issues, and other construction bottlenecks have resulted in delayed spending and delays in starting projects. The projects in this category are large, pay-as-you-go, multi-year projects. Budget authority is authorized up front to allow us to enter into these contracts and spend that money. The budget authority carries over from year to year until spent. The remaining authority in this category will be spent on major maintenance projects, replacement of our integrated library system, and seismic retrofits and remodels of the 3 historic Carnegie libraries. Now, I'll do a deeper dive in each of the major investment areas, starting with hours and access. At the end of this presentation, I'll talk more about our recent adjustment to open hours. In April 2023, the library restored hours to pre-pandemic levels and added 90 hours per week throughout the system. Almost every branch saw an increase in hours. The library was open 71,000 hours in 2023 compared to 68,000 in 2019. This was more open hours than at any time since 2009. We also operated pickup lockers, providing a 24/7 holds access at several locations. The added hours are scheduled based on priorities we heard from 4,600 patrons through a survey about library hours we conducted in October and November of 2021. Patrons told us they preferred more weekend hours to later evening hours and Monday closures rather than Friday closures for branches open 6 days a week. We built our schedule based on what patrons told us was most important to them. Programming. Along with expanded hours, we were able to bring in-person programming back to our libraries, including the 25th anniversary of Seattle Reads, Citywide Book Club, just mentioned by Stesia, the Global Reading Challenge for all Seattle Public Schools 4th and 5th graders, story times for families and caregivers, author discussions, classes, workshops, and so much more. 2023 operation challenges that we experienced. Obviously, with all those accomplishments, there came new challenges. Major construction projects, excessive heat, intermittent staffing shortages resulted in scheduled and unscheduled closures, impacting our ability to continue offering increased hours. As you can see in the chart, the gap between scheduled and actual hours shows the impacts of these challenges. For branches without air conditioning, we have seen increased heat closures, especially following an L&I rule change about indoor air temperatures. Our branches were closed 75 times for more than 200 hours due to excessive heat. Oops, sorry. This is the right one. In the fall, the New Holly Northeast and Southwest branches were closed for the installation of electric systems, which will provide air conditioning and prevent heat-related closures at these locations in the future. The Capitol Hill and Douglas Truth branches were also closed for brief periods due to major maintenance, including HVAC and roof replacements and a sewer line repair. In addition to the extended closures at Green Lake and Northeast, our branches were closed over 50 times and more for more than 400 hours due to construction projects. We also had to periodically close branches when we did not have enough staff or the right mix of experienced staff to open them. We opened late, closed early, or closed all day more than 50 times, losing approximately 300 hours in 2023. Staffing shortages have continued to impact us in 2024. The levy also helped us reduce barriers to access. In January 2020, the library stopped charging late fines for overdue materials. We cleared accounts of these charges and restored borrowing privileges for 18,000 people. Patrons are still returning materials at about the same rate. In fact, we've seen a slight reduction in items that are permanently lost. We've also made it easier for patrons to request fee waivers for lost items online. In the past, patrons would have had to come into a branch or speak to library staff on the phone. The levy also helped fund our social services team, which has started weekly coffee and conversations hours, as well as teen drop-ins at the Central Library. These are opportunities for us to create informal and welcoming spaces to connect people with our staff and each other. We believe fostering community belonging and connection is a core function of our work. The levy helped us grow our digital collections in 2023 as ebooks and e-audiobooks continue to be in high demand. The cost of ebook and e-audio licensing models, however, is becoming unsustainable for libraries across the United States. These titles can cost 3 to 5 times the amount a consumer pays, and most of our digital books need to be repurchased each year, exacerbating the costs. In 2012, digital materials accounted for 10% of our total circulation. In 2023, it was more than 50%. The financial reality of increasing costs and increasing popularity of ebooks and e-audiobooks makes growing this important collection difficult. Whenever a certain number of patrons place a hold on a title, we purchase another copy to keep our wait times reasonable. To reduce costs, we recently reduced the number of holds patrons can place on ebooks and e-audiobooks from 25 to 10. 90% of our patrons have 10 holds or fewer. Through this reduction, we are asking the other 10% of the patrons to be more deliberate in the holds they place. In 2023, we spent $6.2 million on digital materials and $3.4 million on print and other materials from other sources. The levy also helped us increase the breadth and depth of our physical collection. We added over 211,000 more items in 2023. We also funded the popular Peak Picks collection and added 1,500 titles to our world languages collections. Over the last 2 years, we have also performed a diversity audit of our collection to ensure our collection reflects and represents the range of backgrounds, experience, and voices in our community. As a result, we added over 500 additional titles and 2,300 copies to increase the diversity of our materials in 2023. The vendors who audited our collection noted that we had one of the most diverse collections in North America, and that our children's collection was particularly diverse. In technology services, the Levy helped us replace 368 public and staff computers. We also added 14 laptops at neighborhood branches. To enable better virtual and hybrid engagement with staff across our system, we also added 17 digital video carts at several locations to better support virtual meetings. Patrons often express how grateful they are for our free printing services, which the Levy helps support. In 2023, patrons printed 1.7 million pages on library printers. We offer 10 free black and white pages or 3 color pages per week. In addition, we also loaned 1,150 hotspots to the community. This includes 250 long-term hotspots used for internet access at sites such as tiny house villages, shelters, and more. We partnered with 16 community organizations to distribute these and provide on-site library support. Due to the pandemic, all children's programming at libraries paused from 2020 through late 2022. In 2023, we were able to bring much of that back, including Levy-supported Kaleidoscope Play and Learns. With Levy-supported hours, we were able to bring back in-person story times, and in 2023, we offered over 500 of these at 18 libraries and at additional partner locations. Sorry, y'all. The Kaleidoscope Play and Learn program offers a chance for children and their families to learn and play together. Children listen to multilingual stories, sing songs, and do simple crafts with their caregivers. Families learn about their child development and community resources that are available to them. The library has helped us grow this program, the Levy has helped us grow this program from 5 locations to 7, adding Delridge and New Holly to Beacon Hill, Columbia, Lake City, Rainier Beach, and South Park branches. Maintenance and capital improvement. As we shared earlier, the second largest investment area in the Levy is for major construction work. Currently, we are nearing completion of the seismic retrofit and major renovation of the historic Green Lake branch, which is scheduled to reopen this summer. These renovations include accessibility improvements and HVAC installation. Later this year, we will start a similar project at the University branch. The Columbia branch is the 3rd location slated for this work. The Levy also has helped fund new HVAC systems at the Capitol Hill Northeast and Southwest branches, as well as a new automated materials handling system to help us sort and deliver materials much more efficiently. I want to take this opportunity to thank Council for its support in funding the HVAC systems at Northeast and Southwest branches. Council approved $1.5 million for Northeast and $750,000 for Southwest. However, the Northeast branch ended up costing $2.5 million with the inflation in construction, and Southwest cost $1.2 million. The Levy provided $500,000 to each of these projects to ensure that they could be completed. The library has also been seeking state and federal funding to support seismic and climate upgrades at our libraries, as the Levy dollars allocated for these projects are often not enough to cover the significantly increased cost of construction. Based on recent grant awards, we've been able to leverage more money for these projects and get them done despite all of these challenges. Just 2 more items before we get to some questions. The first is a look at what's ahead for the library this year. In the next couple of months, we will officially launch our new 10-year strategic plan. It is focused on community impact and equity, and I'm excited to introduce it to you and the community. As shared earlier, we'll reopen the Green Lake branch and prepare for the renovation of the University branch. We plan to launch a new library app that will improve the patron experience. And lastly, we're starting to prepare for the development of a Levy renewal proposal in 2026. This levy proposal will help us overcome some of the budgetary challenges we are facing. The second, pardon me, and let's see if we can actually get this to play for you. This second item is a short video I'd like to show you. It's part of a marketing campaign we launched this year to highlight the library's impacts on patrons and staff. This video features one of our terrific staff members talking about the importance of library access. This one. Here we go. I don't know if we'll have the sound. It is on. Let's see.
Circulation desk, but you'll also find me shelving and moving about the library.
Hi, my name is Dylan Ricciardi.
I'm in LA too.
theater
I work
background,
closely on the
so
circulation desk, but
sharing
you'll also
stories with
find me
community,
shelving and moving about the library, doing continuing on my
I come from a
theater back job,
Turn this
sharing
on.
books and so DVDs, even music, as well as giving people the opportunity to access
I
materials.
get started two of them here. My apologies.
That's okay.
Always technology.
Because it's so limited everywhere else, there is no other public space where you are free to just be there, providing space for all our community members is, I think, probably the coolest thing that the library.
All right, thank you. I will pass on this particular.
Chief Librarian, we can, if you'll share that with us, we can watch it. Oh, now I'm in stereo.
There we go. I think that got us back to where we're in good shape.
We back on track?
Reasonably back on track. Let me see if I can get this shared back. The last piece is actually, for some reason, not coming up either, but we had some great comments from our patrons. But I did want to move into, let me apologize. I'll get all of the microphones working. We do have some additional comments from patrons in the last slide. We'll make sure that you see those as well. But I did want to get a few things discussed before we get to some general questions, as I know there's been some interest, obviously, in recent closures that we have, that we've talked about through June. And I wanted to give you some background in all of this, especially as we talk about a levy. The library's levy is an operating levy. And in our particular case, it's really also tied to general fund. They are intertwined, for lack of a better way of saying it. And so it is many times conditional, and what is happening in general fund can also affect what you can accomplish in levy funds, especially, as I shared earlier, when you have assumptions built on the fact that in 2019, additional hours, the assumption was going to be that we had the 2019 staffing and general fund allocation so that the smaller amount of money we put to open hours would be able to allow us to expand. Anytime those general fund numbers or staffing numbers are go down, that then affects our ability to have those additional hours. So that is obviously one of the things that come into play when we talk about that. Inflation also being another one is indicated when inflation outpaced the inflation that was projected in those levies, that also starts really taking down your buying power, both for capital projects, but also for staffing acquisition. The other piece that I think it's really important to note is coming out of the pandemic, we know that we have, most certainly, and this council has heard it many times, more social ills because of the lack of the social safety networks that we've had and the degradation through the pandemic. We know that for our libraries to safely operate, we need to make sure that we have the right staffing package, the right managers or supervisors in to support staff to make sure that we have a safe environment for all to be. And so that also has affected what we have as our operational minimal staffing. Contractually, we have a minimum staffing level package, But then as the leadership and management of the library, we also have to look at each of those cases, each branch, and also determine what those operational minimums should be to make sure, again, that everyone in that branch can successfully use it and safely use the space. So those are some of the things that also affect the library as we move through this particular time. We've also seen, as we talk about having things like a hiring freeze, we know that the impact of that. We know that that's actual vacant positions. But one of the other things that we've seen, again, post-pandemic, is additional types of leave that both the state and the city has provided over the last 3 to 5 years. It's a benefit for staff. We encourage staff to take that. But we've also seen increased uses in FML, family medical leave use as well. And we do want staff to take care of their families and themselves through all the benefits that they are given. But these also add to that vacancy. So we have often what you call hard vacancy, those positions that are left vacant. That's a hard vacancy. And then you have soft vacancy, which is going to be your leave utilization. And for our organization, that runs at about 14%. So as you can see, if you run into a combination of a hiring freeze, your normal vacancy, your normal leave usage, then you're going to end up having a fairly high number when those two combine. So all of those things have led to some of the changes and challenges we've had to come up with of late. As we look at, and I know you will be looking at this later in the year, the budget concerns that have been stated for the last several months, and then obviously the hiring freeze being put in place, I do have the authority to not follow any of that. I do. But obviously the mayor and his team and the city budget office also have information that is concerning to them. So the library is actually maintaining that hiring freeze for now until we work out our budget. I am very, very thankful that we have a very collaborative mayor's office. I've been here 9 years. It's one of the most collaborative I've worked with, and the city budget office has been as well. I do feel that we will be able to move to a situation that will put us in a better position, either towards the end of the year or as we start 2025. So I know there are some challenges, and there are going to be a few more as we have to keep this hiring freeze in until we sort some things out in the next few months. But we will most certainly be talking to all of you and your teams about what we're doing, when we're doing it, and trying not to have it be a surprise. Some of these things, unfortunately, are moving very fast, and I have to make sure that at the end of the day, we are able to provide all of our services. I often talk about this as a visual, which is we have a 6-foot square. That's all of our services, programs, hours, and temporarily we need to make it a 5-foot square until we can resolve what the issues are with the budget and what other challenges we may face with the budget. And with that, I'll turn it over to any questions you might have, because there's probably a few.
Thank you, Chief Librarian Fay and Jan, for this presentation. Colleagues, I have I have a couple comments and a couple questions, and then, we'll welcome your questions as well. There's one thing, a couple things. Chief Fay, I just want to underscore a few things that you said that actually do have an impact as well on the library's budget, and that is the fact that, as you stated earlier, the library levy does not fund all of the libraries. It funds about a third. I don't think you gave a number, but I think I've seen that. And so the remainder is mostly general funds. So when you say that during the pandemic and because of inflation had impacts on general fund, it will have an impact on the library's budget, including library hours. The other thing that you mentioned briefly, and I want to make sure people actually I want to put some focus on this because it's important. libraries did a cost of living wage increase for employees, which then also impacts your budget because you have to set funds aside to do the wage increase, which impacts your ability to hire more people. So I don't want folks to leave here thinking that this hiring freeze is a bit of a buzzword, and I don't want people leaving here thinking that it's all the issues are the hiring freeze. There are real issues with the pandemic and the inflationary costs that we're seeing, and also we need to be able to do wage increases for our employees who've been working hard, but that has impacts, including the FML that some employees take, which is a benefit that the libraries provide, just like the city of Seattle across all departments provides, but that has impacts. And then the other thing I want to talk about is the electronic books having a huge impact as well on the library's budget. This is a city, I think I read somewhere we're 8th in the world for ebooks usage, and that is very costly and has a huge impact as well on the budget, and will have a huge impact on that ability. All of these things I just mentioned have a huge impact on the ability to increase hours at the library.
Correct.
And so it's not just the hiring freeze, which I also understand you've exempted certain positions in order to manage for that, and I appreciate that. 2 other points, colleagues, is that we've seen across the country the public safety issues that have been experienced at most library branches across the country, not just in Seattle. And so you heard Chief Librarian Fay talk about the fact that they have to double up staff at some of the branches in order to deal with that. And then lastly, I'll say that when you said contractually, you mean with the unions. So there are, you have contracts with your labor unions for how much staffing needs to be at each of those libraries. So it's not something just that you are working with the unions to set those library hours as well, so that has an impact. I will say in terms of the weekend hours, that is also part of this contractual agreements that you have with the union. And the reason why I want to point that out is because I know, and I have heard constituents say that the levy promised more weekend hours, and I know that what you have in place in terms of reductions includes reductions during the weekends. And so I really want to address that part of the issues is that you have these contractual agreements with the unions that also have an impact on those things. And so we really need to give the full picture and the full information so folks really understand where this reduction of hours is coming from, including that electronic book issue, which, it is very popular. And so it's, in some cases, or you can look at it as, if you can do less electronic books, perhaps maybe, and more hours, but the electronic books are so popular. So that's what you're managing for, and I just want to daylight some of that stuff more saliently so folks understand. Colleagues, are there questions? Councilmember Wu?
I have a few questions. So I'm kind of curious about your partnership with King County Library System. I understand Seattle people have access to King County, but does King County have access to Seattle?
Yes, we have the reciprocal borrowing agreements with multiple library systems in the Puget Sound area.
So I'm just really curious also is why do digital books cost more? Are we just paying more from the publishers, or is this a corporation?
It is, yes, it is. We are paying more. So you as a consumer can actually buy let's use an ebook. You can buy an ebook for about $10. That same ebook may end up costing us $30 or $40 because they see libraries, at least in this realm, as competition, even though we have obviously been circulating physical books for many, many years, right? And it hasn't impacted their business. But from the beginning of ebooks and e-audiobooks, that has been the concern of publishers, that we somehow would eat into their business, when in fact we know we actually daylight and highlight authors and topics that people would not discover normally through typical marketing of publishers. But with that, I'll give you an example of a book that we had. Britney Spears had a book out last year, towards the end of the year. All the physical material we bought, and they were obviously in the hundreds for a system this size and the interest in the material, those physical items, because we get discounts on those, cost us about $2,800 to $2,900 for all those hundreds of items. An equivalent, but sometimes a larger number because more people consume in e-audio and e-books cost us over $35,000 for the same material. That is the staggering difference in this type of material, and thus the reason we've done some things around changing the number of holds. Again, we look at everything from the data perspective. We knew that 90% of our folks had 10 items or less because most people can't consume that much in the course of 2 or 3 weeks. But we have some high-end users that obviously are sometimes maybe even just banking it and saying, well, I'll put it here and maybe I get it from KCLS or King County colleagues, maybe I get a print book, but then if they don't pick it up, we don't know that until they don't pick it up. Yet we bought towards trying to fulfill that request. So it gets very complicated, and so when I asked my teams to look at things from a data perspective, that's the solution we came up with. To try to, again, be more efficient and effective, because I want an e-book or audio collection that is not just, this and something very popular. I also want one that has some depth and breadth. And if we're only buying, continuing to buy unpopular, we'll never get the depth and breadth. And we also need to develop that as we go forward in time. More and more will be produced in e. It is a complicated one. I'd be happy to talk to you all about it in other sessions, because there are some things that we are looking at as libraries in the state that may affect some legislation in that area. Other states are doing so because we feel that it's not the applied to physical material. A complicated issue, and trying to sum it up in 2 minutes here.
Thank you for trying. So I have another question. How can community support you? Like when it comes to volunteer programs, obviously volunteer programs cannot keep libraries open, but a lot of community members are very concerned. And also, what is your ask from us, the City Council?
Well, I think to answer your first question, we have a great foundation, and obviously it's the Seattle Public Library Foundation, and folks can go to their website and donate. They have a number of categories to donate to. Could be you have an interest in ebooks, maybe that you want to do equity programming. So they have a number of categories. They're a great partner. They support us in so many ways and actually allow us to leverage levy funding as well as general funding to do more for the public. So that's one way. Our Friends of the Library, as I mentioned, is another great group if you want to volunteer. They do so many things that we can't get out to do. They actually provide classroom sets to Title I schools. They need obviously more resource there, more people to help, again, and more donations to be able to provide that. So that's another way. And then as far as council, I think it's going to be the same thing that I ask when the mayor's office, the library, and the city budget office comes together, is that we work towards solutions. This is not combative. We have a serious issue in the city with the budget. There's going to be things that we have to do that are going to be hard. And I know you all are going to hear that, you're going to see that, and I am sorry for that. But I know that as a group, we will be able to work this out. As I've talked to several of you over time, or had time with you longer than some, I know that there's a lot of things that we can bring to bear, because this is a critical service. And I know the mayor believes this is a critical service. His mother worked for the library for years. So I know that he has the best intentions, and we will get through this.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have my hand raised, but I seem to
Oh.
be in a weird zone here.
Councilmember Morales?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. You sort of answered one of my questions already about what's leading to the staffing shortages. And the next question I have, which is what is the remedy to this digital cost differential? It sounds like legislation at the state level is probably the way that's going to have to go. Is that right?
It is. I think there's that. We as, as libraries are also looking at, are there other, and there are more providers becoming available. So how do we actually distribute some of this? Because there might be better buying programs through other providers. There's really, primarily one large provider of ebooks to libraries. There's a few more starting to crop up, and hopefully they'll have some better options for us as well. Competition always helps. When you have, very few publishers, remember that's not to say there aren't a lot of little publishers, but those big publishers are down to about 4. And then they set deals with a distributor, and they're going to set it with one. We get a little more monopolistic than we like to see, and I think that also the competition would be very helpful.
And then as it relates to the closures, can you talk a little bit about how you prioritized closures and which libraries have the most use? Sort of what were your criteria for deciding how to do that?
So again, I think as Chair Rivera was talking about staffing and everything and how complicated and how multifaceted it is, and I'm glad she added those additional points after our discussion. It's the same, it really is the same thing when we look at the hours, right? So we are looking at a couple things. We look at where there is need in communities. So we're looking at the opportunity maps. We're looking at, as I directed staff, please look at all of our programming. And that programming is not just in the walls of the library. We have a lot of programming that occurs in partner organizations, but require the staff from those buildings. So please look at all of those factors as well, so that when we are going to say we're going to close a building, we're not disrupting homework help, where we have 25 kids coming in and they expect us to be there. One time of not doing that means those 25 kids probably aren't going to show up the next time. That's kids, that's teenagers. So they were tasked with really looking at all of those elements as well. They looked at a lot of use data, of course, that's a big piece of it. But we wanted to make sure that as we looked at regions throughout the city, we wanted to make sure that we had something adjacent, reasonably adjacent to folks in the city that was also open at some point, really trying to also have some that were going to be open 7 days a week regardless. Now, there are always things that can impact us, and that's our concern. As we know, we have to hold hours reductions for a little while longer. We know there are things that can impact us like heat events, all of that. For our buildings that don't have air conditioning, that's going to be a problem. And we also, as we were looking at these hours and knowing summer's coming, is how can we make sure that we're able to have buildings with air conditioning open? We also have asked ourselves, can we be nimble and flexible enough to be able, even if one isn't open during a heat event, can we do that? Can we switch? And we have been in the past. We believe we probably can in the future, short of something else impacting us. So there's a lot of things that go into it. And again, as Chair Rivera stated, with some of our contractual obligations with scheduling, it does make it challenging when we're looking at weekends. We do have a weekend rotation for staff, so that staff members do get a weekend. We try to have a humane schedule for people and a realistic one for folks.
Chair, can I have one more question?
Of course.
Thank you for that. Can you talk a little bit about what tools and resources are available to address some of the public safety issues? I know that has been a huge issue for library workers, but can you talk a little bit about how you work with Human Services, with LEAD, with SPD?
Absolutely. We're very fortunate. One of the things I did during the pandemic is, pardon me, work to restructure our social services team. Pardon me. And really what we did is brought that in-house, not a contractual service. We also established a social services librarian, And we have a manager who, while a librarian, did social work in New York at a pretty significant level in his earlier years. And with the social services team, because we have one of our social workers has a master's, we're able to also employ interns from the University of Washington as well. So that all starts fleshing out and actually creates a network that from all of our branches, we can now provide greater resource. So this social services team and social services librarian create reference guides for each region and around branches, so that when folks come in, we actually have a resource. Many of our issues we see in branches really comes from resource deficiency. Someone needs housing overnight. They need something to help with drug-related issues. There could be mental health challenges, all of these things, health challenges. So this is really helping, and this is not done in a vacuum. We work with HSD, our folks stay in touch. We work with Chief Smith, where actually our teams are getting together to know more about our work and how we might work together in the future. And it cannot be one thing trying to solve a problem. And when the mayor talks about one Seattle, you know, I do believe in that. I've been here 9 years. We had a lot of silos. If we're going to solve some of these things, we know we as a library can't solve all of it. We are one doorway and one place that people come. And so that's, if we can bring other services in, we work with community partners to do that. We bring them in, provide them space. Same thing with city departments as they try to solve some of these issues as well. So it again is a multifaceted approach to working through these.
Yeah, I think you said librarian, social services librarian, and I happened to attend a tour yesterday of Crisis Connections and got to sit and listen in as people were calling 211 or calling 988, some of the hotlines that we have. And it was interesting to listen as they helped a caller navigate through a really complicated structure of services. You know, somebody was calling in with a rental problem. They were $100, they couldn't pay $100 of their rent. And so this person walked them through 15 or 20 different places where they might be able to go to get that $100. And, you know, I can imagine a librarian on sort of the front end trying to navigate that with somebody. So I do think that figuring out how we connect the services that exist to the sort of people who are encountering the challenges is going to be an important part of our work. So,
and it is that network. Yeah. It truly is. Our teams are, you know, for example, we had some refugees that were sent up from a southern city I won't mention at the moment, but sent to the Central Library on a Sunday at 5 o'clock. 2 kids, 2 adult parents, and said the library will help. We called every network. We brought other people in line. We're fortunate. Our foundation provides us some funding for resources. Might be literally blankets, sleeping rolls, food. We were able to set something up with Mary's Place for the mom and the children. And unfortunately, the adult father had to take the sleeping roll. So I think the one thing, you know, I'm glad you brought it up because it takes a toll on staff. I was on those public desks many years in a city that had probably just as many problems as this and more. And it takes a toll on you, you know, mentally, physically. When you can't solve that problem for somebody and that is facing you and you know you're going to probably see the same thing the next day, that is a very hard thing for our teams.
Yeah. Trust me, as somebody who was here during the pandemic, I understand.
Thank you, Councilmember Morales, and thank you, Chief Librarian Fay. I do want to underscore this piece about, you know, libraries were not built to be to provide human services for folks. We're putting our librarians in these difficult positions by asking them to do things that they did not go to school to do. So I really want to I want to underscore that as much and you are doing a lot, and I appreciate that. You have these public safety teams, and the public should know that, so thank you for sharing that. At the same time, I know that it is challenging for the libraries because this is not what you and your team do. And so we need to figure out a way that we are not tasking you with something that the librarians are not equipped to handle.
Well, we are definitely the largest referral service you have in the city. And if we have somewhere to refer people, that's
You
where
will.
we have the greatest success. So thank you for
Yes,
that.
yes, but just recognizing that we're putting a lot on your team, that is recognized.
Thank you.
Councilmember Moore, I thought I saw a hand up, and because there's some tech issues, I want to make sure I'm not missing you. So if you have a question or comment still, if you want to unmute, we'd love to hear from you.
Oh, no, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to the presenters and appreciate the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Moore.
Chair, I had a question. I can't
course.
raise my hand. I think I'm on I'm not a panelist, so I'm sorry.
No worries,
may I ask-
Councilmember Hollingsworth, and I should have recognized that you walked in quite a while ago, so we've been joined by Councilmember Hollingsworth toward the beginning part of this committee meeting today. Let the record reflect. Go ahead.
Please do, because when not, it will say absent if I'm late. So thank you. I appreciate that, Chair Rivera. I had I don't know if it's a question, but it's just a comment, and I'm going to try to be working with my colleagues on this, is just our youth. And I know that I saw 1% increase for children's 0 to 5, which I think is phenomenal. One of my areas of concern are our teens, middle school kids not having places to go after school, safe places to go. And our district, District 3, we have 4 libraries. One of them's close to Garfield High School. And then Garfield has all these different, that neighborhood has so many different places. You have Washington Middle School, you have all these daycares, you have all these like schools that are all around there. And I know a lot of kids might come to the library or they go to the community center, different places. And just wanted to hear your perspective about like maybe improvements that we need to be aware of the council for like activities for youth and teens. And, you know, I saw that you all do a phenomenal job of the homework help piece, which I think is great. But just different other activities that could really engage our youth to utilize the library.
Yeah, I think, you know, that's one of the things that as we start building to the next levy, it's one of the areas that we've found a deficiency in our own operations, in that having that programming, which has to be a different engagement cycle. So as we often think about outreach engagement, you're looking at a recruit and retain, right? Even for library patrons, it's the same business model as everyone else. It's so much different with teens. Teens are recruit, they go out, recruit, a new group comes in. It's not as if we don't want to retain, but the realities of life and the transition from teen to young adult, we will see them back again when they're parents often, or they're going to college and they've found and rediscovered us again. So we know there's going to be that gap. And it does require more types of programming. It requires more partners. It requires spaces in the city that are really developed for teens. This is a city that I've seen that doesn't necessarily have as many of those opportunities. And I mean that for teens wherever they're at in the city. But especially if we look in some of our underserved communities, there's just absolutely nothing. The only thing there might be a library and if lucky, a community center or a rec center to be able to participate. And I think that's something that we have to look at. That's why we take our partnership so seriously. And it is one of the areas that we also need to develop in that next levy. And by doing that, it's also recruiting the right type of staff, maybe new skill sets, but actually recruiting from community, because that's the other piece. People have to recognize themselves. They have to recognize that there's other opportunities they may not explore, and there has to be trust. And sometimes that's from coming from community. And so those are some of the things we're really working on that we're laying out in our strategic plan, because that's going to be very critical as we move forward in the next levy, is to actually start fleshing that. My big areas of interest is the fact that we have oversold college education and not enough in technical and vocational. And I do believe that the library, with some of its workforce development, while often focused on adult, can also move into that realm of youth. And quite honestly, that starts a lot younger than people think. Needs to start in middle school. People need to know it's an opportunity. I was a rural kid. I didn't have any idea what I would do, and the only thing I saw was welding. I got to be an apprentice welder. That was my way out. That's, and somebody just happened to pick me up and say, here's an opportunity. That's the kind of thing libraries can do. We can present those type of opportunities. We have to have great partners. We have to have some other resources to point people to other than us. To Chair Rivera's points, we can't be the sole provider.
Yeah, no, understood. Thank you for that. I know a lot of people in our city talk about, like, kids are hanging out at the Safeway parking lot, or they're hanging out, and it's like, well, where else are they supposed to go? Or sometimes they feel the only safe place to go is a coffee shop or a Starbucks. They don't have, these activities and things to do. And I also understand that we have to engage parents, and we have to engage them better, and for them to understand a lot of the activities that are in the city. So I really appreciate your website being able to, navigate, and for people to be able to see what different programs are available in different areas. It's really easy and accessible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hollingsworth. I did say I had a couple comments and a couple questions. I got to the comments and not the questions because I wanted to give my colleagues an opportunity to speak. But I'm going to get back to the questions. And that is, well, do you have summer programming for youth? Chief Librarian Fake, summer's coming. And I share with Councilmember Hollingsworth is this concern for where are our kids going to go. And you've heard me say here before, when I was growing up, the library was the place that I went to, especially during the summer, because I didn't have anywhere to go. And it really is a place that can be a place where kids, go, have somewhere safe to be, and discover a whole world amongst all the books. I still read books in print. But it is a place that you can go do that. And so I wonder about your summer programming and whether that's been impacted, or, is this something that occurs across the city?
So it will occur. So we have what we call our Summer of Learning, which is kind of learning and reading all mashed up together. Really has kind of a STEM or STEAM basis to it. And one of the, again, multifaceted reasons pointed out here a couple of times around the reduction in hours is to also make sure that I have librarian time and other staff in support to be able to do the outreach and engagement to schools, with teachers, and to be able to still host our programming both in library and in community. So again, that kind of shrinking to the right size temporarily so that all of the services can be offered is really key to the success of the summer. But yes, as school gets out, our Summer of Learning program will ramp up, and it will conclude probably just a couple of weeks before school starts up again. Then we shift into school support for the remainder of the year.
Great to hear. Thank you, Chief Librarian Fay. And then I just wanted to get back to, I have a couple questions about the public safety issues. One is, are you seeing changes to who is coming into the library and utilizing the libraries in person since you've had more public safety issues at these branches? So the reason I ask, also thinking about youth, is parents might have feelings, because this has been publicized all across the country, or all of our libraries across the country are experiencing this issue, whether it has had an impact on folks coming to utilize the library services. And then along with that, are there some branches that have been more impacted by the public safety issues than others?
Yes, there's always going to be a branch in some location that will have a higher impact. When we look at folks having concerns, at times I do believe they might if they saw a particular interaction. The one thing that our staff are great at, and that would be our security team, or it could be our frontline staff, we provide a lot of de-escalation training. We also do a lot of debriefing after incidents. We really work to have people be successful. And, when I look at it, even though we have these issues, most of the time we can turn it into a situation in which the person may have to leave for the day and come back. People have bad days. You're wet, you're cold, you're probably going to start the day in the wrong place. But, I watch my officers at Central every morning greeting everyone, often by name. Our staff, when I talked about the coffee chat at Ballard and at Central, the reason for that is to know people, know their names, and bring all of our humanity. And remember, they want the same thing we all want. We want to other folks at times, those with mental health, with drug addiction issues, and houseless individuals. But they all want what we want. And we need to remember that, and our staff does it every day. They're the most compassionate and empathetic people. And really, that's what we try to bring to the table. And most of the time, that solves the problem. But we do know that obviously there's going to be those occasions when it won't. And those are the things that have made us rethink our staffing obligations and allocations to make sure that we're able to cover those situations.
You're not necessarily seeing a decline in residents utilizing the library services because of the public safety issues?
No, overall, as pointed out in the presentation, we've seen increases in pretty much every category. And, I'm actually very happy to say, too, that the programming numbers have also come up as far as attendance and everything else. I think back to probably before March of last year, we held an event at Central, and we had about 25 people in attendance. 2 months later, and I don't know what it was the summer months, but all of a sudden it was a full house, and it's remained the same as we've had these programs, and that's encouraging to see, and especially in the downtown area. As we know, it's taken a while to get some things to come back. But yes, there's more movement, there's more activity. As you see economic development teams trying to reactivate spaces, all of that helps.
Great to hear it. Thank you, Chief Librarian Fay, and thank you to your team for all that they do. The libraries are doing so much with so little, and really want to recognize that and appreciate your leadership and the work of your entire team. You're a great resource to community, and I'm so glad to hear it's being utilized. And, I know we will have you back for more conversations about more things happening at the library, perhaps even related to ebooks, as it's very much a hot topic across the country, not just in the state.
Exactly.
Yeah, so super appreciate that. Thank you so much for joining us today. Colleagues, are there any other questions then?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Librarian Fay. It's great to see you. All right, seeing no further questions, this concludes the April 25th, 2024 meeting of the Libraries, Education, and Neighborhoods Committee. Our next committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 9th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. If there's no further business, this meeting will be adjourned. Hearing no further business, it's 10:50 a.m. and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, colleagues.